Hello everybody, this is Dr. Kashif Abdullah. It is April 20th, 2020, and I am speaking to you today again about the coronavirus. If anyone has any questions that they would like to have addressed, please feel free to ask them in the comments below. I'll just write down hello everybody. Okay, so I'll go back and forth on the comments to see if there is any comments. I welcome any comments. So let's see. Let me change screens here. Okay, there we go. So if we look at the world, let me refresh this. So this is again the Johns Hopkins Coronavirus Resource Center. And if we look, we have now, as of today, 2,400,000 some odd confirmed cases, and we can see that the daily increase in the number of cases has begun to hopefully plateau, but not really. We're still we're not going up, at least. That's a good thing. But we are hopefully falling. Now, let's look at the worst country that's been infected. That's the US, largely because it is the country that is one of the most populous countries in the world, but two, also its numbers are high because it has a good reporting system, but it also has not the greatest medical system as compared to the rest of the world. So there is now 766,000 confirmed cases, with unfortunately almost 41,000 deaths. So that's not very good. If we look at the daily increases, we don't see any sustained drops. We just see almost flat. It's just about the same number of cases. So at least it's not getting worse and worse. And we're only been into this about a month and a couple of days, really, of showing active jumps. There was, of course, some reporting earlier on, but the number of real cases didn't really start until about a month ago. So if we look but we're still not seeing an active drop. Spain, if we look at Spain, it will look like Spain was dropping significantly, but then recently, in the last couple of days, there's been a market increase. I don't know if this is like a second wave, or people in Spain started getting lax about their social distancing and their preventive health practices, but there was a jump in Spain. Italy also did not see that kind of jump, but it did show, has still showed a general trend down in the number of cases, daily increases in cases. So that's good, but they still have a long ways to go still. So if we look at France, the general trend is down. There was a couple of outliers that were really high, but overall it's coming down, looks like, in France as well. Germany is also falling. The trend is negative as well. You can see it's going down. And if we look at the United Kingdom, well, they are still like sort of the US in the plateau stages. They're not like the rest of Western Europe. Turkey is hopefully plateauing now, where they're not going any higher. China, it doesn't really matter. Iran is a little bit too controlled. I'm not sure how much I take this. Russia actually is a very big concern, I would say, in the world. Russia is just, they're nowhere near like controlling this. It's just going like wildfire through Russia. I doubt there's 405 deaths. I would equate that low number to poor reporting, and Russia is, it's going to be bad in Russia, it looks like. If we look at the rest of Western Europe, Belgium is plateauing. Brazil is still. Canada is plateauing. There was a spike, but it was quickly coming down. But they are also trying to get lower. The total number of cases is not that high, but you have to remember Canada's population is not that high. It's only 37 million people. The Netherlands plateauing. The Swiss, they are falling significantly, so the negative trend is down. Portugal, pretty good, down. India is sort of like Russia, actually. India is just going up and up and up and up. And I would say this is because I would say the numbers are likely higher, both for daily confirmed new cases and deaths and what have you, because I would imagine that reporting in India is not that great. So India is another hotspot. And Peru, if we look at Austria, I like looking at this Ireland. Don't jump there. Ireland is also coming down. They're doing better than England, United Kingdom, sorry. But Austria is coming down nicely. And if we compare to South Korea, which has been the best of the best, we've noticed that literally yesterday they had 8 new cases. That's it, 8. The U.S. has like hundreds of thousands or something, or like tens of thousands, sorry. And South Korea has 8. That's it, 8. So I wanted to talk about a little bit about why they have 8 new cases only in a country of like, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 million. I'm not sure exactly what the population of South Korea is, but 8 is pretty darn good. And so what they did is they tested early and they also did contact tracing. What that means is this: just say someone tests positive, then that person would go to the health officials and say, I talked to this person, that person, this person, that person, right? And that person, all those people that person spoke to after testing positive, they were tested. And those people who were tested positive were then asked, who did you interact with? And they would tell, well, I interacted with this. It just keeps on going. So they kept on backtracking and backtracking and backtracking it. So I'll decline that for now. So they kept on going back and back and back and back. So and the thing is, what they have for them is, one, they had lots of tests available quickly, and they also had a lot of good public health measures where they didn't need to even do the social distancing measures that the rest of the world has had to do. What they had to do is a little bit more efficient and much more logical, actually. I don't know, frankly, why those same testing kits that were available in South Korea are not available in the rest of the world. I honestly think it's because of money, because I think someone else wants to make money on this, and they're sacrificing lives for money, frankly, because it makes no sense. Why not just ask South Korea, how did you make them? Who's your company? Let's build your testing kits, and then use those testing kits. If it works for South Korea, why can't it work for the rest of the world? Use that testing company, if they're the ones that were able to do it, why put people's lives in danger just so you want to make a buck or something? I don't know. I don't understand why we cannot use the same testing kits. And this is me as a physician talking about it. If there's a solution, why are we not using that solution? It's ridiculous. So, and honestly, I think it's down to money. I really think that it is. People would risk people's lives just to make a buck. This is sick. And I think they should be able to be used. And so that's one thing. Social distancing and contact tracing is what the people in South Korea did. And also they would also use quarantine for those people who tested positive. Now, the big thing is people, I was looking up, the thing is what we're waiting for is actually a vaccine. Oh, let me really quickly check if there's any questions. Oh, someone is saying hello. Okay. All right. All right. Hello. Okay, this is whatever. All right. So I was looking into vaccinations. I read this by the New Yorker. There was a discussion regarding vaccination, why we may never get a good coronavirus vaccine. The basically gist of this article is it's hard to create a vaccine for this, but at the end of the article it does state that something's better than nothing. So it might not be total protection, but it is some protection. And what they were equating this was to the SARS epidemic that happened in 2002. And frankly, what happened in that case, in the SARS case, was they were able to control SARS through social distancing and public health measures faster than they were able to create a vaccine. I mean, the vaccine was not needed by the time it was created. It was not needed because it was eradicated because of public health measures. Now they're saying coronavirus might be a little bit something similar, but they're saying that in the other article they're saying that some form of vaccine likely will be better than nothing. And also they said in SARS cases, only a couple of companies trying to create the SARS vaccine. In COVID-19, there are companies around the world trying to discover a vaccine for this issue. So hopefully, even if it's not a perfect vaccine, it's better than nothing. And through public health measures, um, this hopefully will be alleviated. But it's not going to be easy. I can tell you that. Let's see if there's any questions. No questions here. Um, so let me go back here and let me answer a question here. I had someone ask me a question. Um, let's see. Before I answer this question, there's one thing I did want to address. There were articles, or there have been articles, and there have been things stated. Let me just go here. So there are articles that I've been reading online, and I've been watching on Twitter and what have you, of people in the United States who are just against this idea of the coronavirus, social distancing, and just going back into public, jumping. I don't believe in this, and I think we should the cure. I've heard this idiotic thing of the cure cannot be worse than the disease. That kind of stupidity of we need to make we need to make money, and we need to get the economy started. We need to stop the social distancing, and we need to get back to work. I understand the back to work, but I think your life is worth more than the work. And hopefully, if we pull all together and we worked in one unison, we can get over this sooner rather than later, and then you can get back to work. Like the South Koreans likely are going back to work already. Um, they're not having to do what the rest of the world is doing. And this issue where all these various political leaders are and talk show pundits in the U.S. are saying that this is they're blaming everyone. They're not taking responsibility. I was mentioning sometimes I tweet on Twitter to various people, and I mentioned that this was handled very badly, and some people would tweet back at me saying, "Oh, you're a hater" or something like that. I was not a hater. I'm just telling you the truth. This was too slow. It should have been much faster than this. And now the world is all saying, all agreeing, yes, it should have been much faster than this. But I would say this: don't stop the social distancing yet. We are nowhere close to, in the United States especially, of stopping this. If these people go back, like I saw this one thing on Twitter about these Texans saying fire Fauci, who is Fauci is this head of the CDC, and one of the main people that will come in the news briefings saying where is the coronavirus issue in the US right now. And he comes in daily these days. And they want him gone because they like their current president here. And they're saying nonsensical things of they're in a big giant group in Texas. I don't know if it's Austin or wherever, and they're protesting fire Fauci. Like, you guys are, this is idiotic, frankly. You're in a big gigantic group, like all huddled together, protesting against a physician that is actually has your best interest and is stating just obvious facts. And I would not be surprised in that crowd someone catches the coronavirus, and not just someone, lots of people in that group catch it, and they start giving it to a whole bunch of other people, only because they're just, I don't know what political nonsense they keep hearing, but I don't know, it's just frankly ridiculous. So I did want to speak about, there was one topic, I saw someone sent it a topic saying that something around the ideas is, if someone has blood tests that reveals antibodies, does it mean they already been recovered from the virus, or can they still have the active virus even though they have developed antibodies? Well, antibodies usually means that you have mounted an immune response, and hopefully you have recovered from that disease if you don't have symptoms. Now, can you still have active virus even though you developed antibodies? Technically, you could. you could still have active virus if you even if you develop antibodies. Depends how good the antibodies are at blocking this. So that's why some vaccines are good and some vaccines are not so good. So some vaccines will mount an immune response, but it might not be strong enough to stop the virus or stop the disease. So, but at the same time, it does help slow down the disease. It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. Um, I said here was the only way to verify that you don't have active disease is by doing two DNA or PCR tests of this issue to verify that they don't have the disease. Um, let's see. I wanted to also show you this. Um, let's see. Just give me a couple of seconds here. Where is it? I don't want this. I was just thinking about if there's anything else. Well, I wanted to also speak about other topics instead of just COVID-19. I know that we can keep on going, and I was going to introduce this other topic, and let me change the screens here again. So this is vitamin supplementation regarding just vitamin supplementation. Sometimes people are also thinking about this during this time of maybe I don't have enough vitamins, and what can I do to improve my vitamin supplementation issues. So if we look at this PowerPoint, I created this some time ago when I did a radio show back in 2015. In regards to vitamin D supplementation, vitamin D itself protects against cancer, heart disease, fractures, falls, autoimmune diseases, flus, diabetes type 2, and depression. Now, it helps. I have to preface that it helps protect. It's not the cure, it helps. And approximately 1 billion people in the world are vitamin D deficient. And usually it's due to not getting enough sun due to climate, lifestyle, and concern about skin cancer. So some people are, if they are in cold climates, they are usually indoors, and there's a lot of cloud cover or what have you, and so they're not getting enough vitamin D creation from the sun. So the sun doesn't give you vitamin D, it creates the conditions within the body of creating precursors into vitamin D. So you don't get vitamin D from the sun, but the ultraviolet light is necessary to transform things inside your body to become vitamin D. But some people's like if they work indoors all day, then may have low vitamin D. Or some people again they're so concerned about skin cancer they don't expose their skin ever to sunlight. And if that's the case, then vitamin D supplementation is usually necessary. So there are like these old requirements that I was able to find from 1997 that should show that infants should have about 2,000 units and adults about 200 units for infants, 400 for adults, and then 600 units for the elderly. Usually I tell people you can get by with about 1 to 2,000 units a day, a tablet. So you can do that. Another supplementation sometimes that gets low is magnesium. And you need magnesium for a whole bunch of enzymes that control muscle, nerve, bone, protein, DNA, all sorts of issues. And the normal range is usually, let's see, they should say vitamin D, but oh no, it's still saying. So for magnesium, you can get this through your food. Oh, I wanted to, just before going to magnesium, I think I need to switch this, but vitamin D levels should be between 30 to 74 nanograms per milliliter, and some people state it should even be a little bit higher for being good enough. So where you can find vitamin D and magnesium, let me finish with the vitamin D. Vitamin D can be found in fortified dairy, egg products, fatty fish, beef, and liver. So, and of course, sun exposure, and there are different kinds of vitamin D you should get. But suffice it to say, you're usually going to get them through animal products. So, or supplementation. Um, let's see. And then there's two different kinds of vitamin D. You want cholecalciferol and not ergocalciferol, or vitamin D3. Most of the vitamin supplementation you find over the counter is vitamin D3 anyway. Then I spoke about magnesium and about basically foods high in magnesium are dark leafy greens, kale, chard, spinach, tree nuts. So anything like green, a deep green will give you good magnesium. Peanuts, seeds, oily fish, beans, lentils, legumes, whole grains, avocado, yogurt, bananas, dried fruits, dark chocolate, molasses. And usually you should have about 400 milligrams a day of magnesium. You can get that also through supplementation, but you can just get that by eating green leafy vegetables. Those are usually good. And you'll notice fish comes twice. So fish is also a good source of vitamin D and of magnesium. Let me see if there is a question. Did I? Uh-oh, 1 second. Did I close this channel? I hope I didn't. No, I don't think I did. Okay, so yeah. Well, looks like I basically finished the PowerPoint presentation. Let's see. Hold on here. Let me go back. Let's go back here. So, you know, if you have any questions or any things that you would like to add, please let me know. I don't see any new questions, but I'm here from Monday to Friday from 12:30 to about 1 o'clock p.m. And I'm trying to answer any questions. If you have any questions you'd like to answer, I'm always here. Let's see if there's any other questions people are wondering about, or if people want to change the time point. That's another thing. I don't know if people want to change the time point. If you want to change the time when I do it, let me know. I don't know if this is a good time. I thought maybe this is lunchtime, people are listening, but it changes every day. Every day is a little bit different. I think that's all I have for today. If again you have any questions or concerns, please leave them in the comments below. And I'm hope to see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye bye.